What's up, everyone? Today I'm here with my friend Daniel. He's a developer in Florida, in Miami area. And Daniel, I'm very pleased to have you today here. And we're here to hear a little bit of your history and learn, and maybe you can give us some golden nuggets what you can do to improve, the real estate business and all the good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice actually to be interviewed. Usually I'm on the other side.
Yeah, it's just like
Interviewing
a
people.
yeah, it's just like a conversation, like a ping pong thing. So
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, my name is Daniel. I'm also like Felipe. I'm from Brazil, from the south of Brazil. And my background in Brazil is in the financial industry. I graduated in economics and did my MBA in investment management. That's where I built my career. I started trading uh, uh, bonds, government bonds, and corporate bonds for a credit union back in Florianopolis. We had at that time a portfolio of almost 500 million reais at that moment, which was about $250 million. And I worked there for 7 years. I started there as an intern when I was in college, and when I graduated in college, I left that company and I went working into a proper bank. Felipe might remember this bank was Banco Real,
Hmm.
which later was acquired by Santander. And Florianopolis is a small city, so we don't have the usually the you only have the branches of the banks. We don't have like the corporate offices there. And I remember when I did my interview, they asked, what's your goal in the bank? And I said, my goal is to work in the asset management company in Sao Paulo, but I need to start somewhere, so I'm starting here. And I worked there for 3 months just to learn that I never want to work in a bank again. I hated the experience. We are forced to sell clients things that are not good for the clients, but are good for the bank.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I was doing my MBA, and I met a guy there. Like I met two people there that they were opening a stock brokerage company, and they invite me to open with them, to go with them, and I did it. And that was in May 2007. And if you remember what happened, it was the
Yeah.
peak of the market, it was the highest that at least the Brazilian market, the índice Bovespa, uh, ever was at that moment. And we opened there. Like I think it was the índice Bovespa was 80,000 points at that moment. And from there it went down. Then we started to have in that year, in October, November, the first signs of the financial crisis, the subprime crisis. And in 2008 it was terrible, and the stock market went in Brazil from 80,000 points to 29,000 points. And that was my biggest school. 5 years of economics, 2 years of MBA, but those 16 months were my best school. But I didn't want to
So
be a broker. I didn't want to be a stockbroker. My goal was to be investment manager. And in Brazil, we have three kinds of certification that you need to have. The first one is the stockbroker. The second one is the investment consultant, which is based on experience. And I had experience, the previous experience on the credit unit that I worked with. So I got that one. And with that one, I accumulated more years of experience to get the investment management. So when I got the investment managed, I opened my investment management company in 2010,
hmm
2008, 2010, 2011, something like that. And then I started doing real estate projects. I did my first one in Brazil, was a small building. I I put together a bunch of investors from our city, Florianopolis, and we built a little building there. And I remember that I went with that pitch deck to a bigger asset management company that was in my city called Soma Investimentos. And the owner, which was a very good friend of mine, he said, Daniel, I'm not going to invest on that, but I need someone here to do the same thing because
Mm.
uh, Soma was a company that is a company that it's a multifamily office. So they have a lot of wealthy families there, and they invest in real estate, and they only had people there with knowledge on the actual financial market. So I sold my company to them and went working with them. And the idea was to start structuring real estate projects. And that's when I started to develop this fund there. We were going to develop a fund with 200 million reais in assets, but was right in the moment when Dilma was re-elected. The interest rates in Brazil went from 5% to 12%, and the real estate investment funds, they didn't make any sense anymore because you can make money just by buying government stocks, bonds, basically.
Yeah. So what do you happen in all this situation? Because here in USA, we know the economy is pretty steady. The interest rate is pretty steady for decades. Right now we're historically low interest rates. But what happened when you hit like 12% interest, all this stuff? You had to figure out something.
Yeah, basically in Brazil, when you have 12%, the government, who was very solid at the moment, different from what was the government back in the 80s and the 90s. When the government is telling you, lend me your money, I'm going to pay you 12%, basically individuals and institutions, they don't want to do anything else because I can just make 12%. The inflation is 5%. I can make 12% less inflation. I'm going to still make money without incurring virtually any risk. So basically they didn't want to do anymore. But there was this guy, one of the developers, because at that moment I was structuring the fund, and we talked to developers to bring their projects inside the fund. And one of the developers said, Daniel, I know the fund's not going to continue, but I'm going to do this project. Do you want to come and work with me to do it? Because I don't know how to do it. And I said, look, I'm in a nice place here. This is what I want to do, be an investment manager. So at this moment, I'm not leaving. So he tried once, twice, 3 times. And I used to train triathlon with him.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he said, oh, my clients want me to build in Miami. And my dream since I was a kid was to live outside Brazil. So when he said that, we were cycling. I went home. When I got home, I texted him, if you're going to Miami, I can carry bricks. I don't care. I want to go with you. This was a Thursday. He said, come here on Friday. So I went there. And he said, Daniel, I want to go to Miami, but before I go to Miami, I need to structure my house here, my company here. So I need you to work with me here. So, no worries. What's the task? So we had a task. I entered his company. I left the investment company, and I went to work with him in May 2014. So my job was, number one, structure that deal. Which is just finalizing now, was a residential project, a luxury residential project, 120 units, 50 million reais in investment. And they are going to they just sent me today the spreadsheet. They are making $20 million reais in profits on that project, even with the pandemic. And that was goal number one, structure the vehicle and the strategy and everything. I didn't participate on the construction. And the second goal was to transform everything, all the controls that they had in spreadsheets to put in a system. So I don't know anything about his system. So I hired a guy. We put everything. In October, I was ready. Everything is done. Let's go to America. So we came here. In October 2014 for the first time to study the market.
So let me ask you this. You told your history until you get here in Miami. So you said on your very first project was like a small building, right? Prior to this project, did you have any experience like doing stuff with real estate, or just like from stocks, financial stuff?
No, I never worked with anything in real estate. No.
So
But the guy that was my partner in my, not my partner, one of the investors, that he said, Daniel, I want to do something. I want to invest in real estate.
mhm.
He had some knowledge, and in Brazil, we don't have as many products or strategies that we have here. There is a lot, but there's not as many. For instance, in Brazil, I don't know anything similar to a multifamily project. You have buildings there that are for rentals, but it's not like the multifamily.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any experience.
So after the first one, what happened for you? I mean, you're working like in the bonds stocks market, and you did your first real estate project. What happened for you, Daniel? Let's say, oh, this is the thing that I want to do or not. What happened?
The reason that I wanted to be an investment manager was to have some kind of control. Like if I'm the fund manager, I have control over the fund. But the problem is I never will have control over the companies I buy stocks from, or I'm never going to have control over the market. So literally I didn't have any control about anything. So that's why I started liking the real estate and the private equity sector, because then I could have control. Because I was there managing for investor. Then you want to build a portfolio. So you study the companies, and you study the market and the forecast and the economy, blah blah blah. You design a portfolio. Tomorrow comes, and Elon Musk says that he's not going to use Bitcoin anymore.
Dogecoin is the thing.
So what kind of control you have?
Yeah.
And you don't have control over the company. So what I start seeing on real estate, even back in Brazil, is that you have more control over your assets. Unless on the stock market, unless you are Warren Buffett, that you can buy the majority of the voting stocks of the company, you have zero control. They sell you the stock market as, oh, you are a partner. You are a partner of the company. No, you're not. You have one stocks, 100 stocks, 1,000 stocks in a company that has billion. You are nothing. Basically, you are nothing. So that was it. That was what changed in my mind. And the fact that you had a real asset, because a company is not real. A company is not real.
Just paper.
A company is not real, because the company rents the office is not theirs. The company rents the equipment is not theirs. The only thing that company has maybe is the inventory. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's not as real as real estate.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Grant Cardone, but there's a phrase that he said, I like it. No one can steal your real estate.
Yes, well, that's
I mean,
that's not also like 100% true.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we can take the example here. Unfortunately, recently was in the news, building collapse here in Miami. So,
oh yeah, very sad.
So not taking into consideration the 109 lives that are still missing. But 2 months before, or a couple of weeks before, someone bought the penthouse for 2.6 million. And now he has nothing.
Yeah.
He has nothing. So yes, real estate will still have that risk, but of course, how many building collapsed in the last 100 years? Probably less than how many cryptocurrency stock companies, cryptocurrency trading companies vanished, because it's an unregulated market.
Yeah.
That's a problem, because how many times you saw the news? Oh, owner of cryptocurrency exchange company disappears with $1 billion.
Yeah, right. And I'm not saying the beginning, but when I was living in Brazil as well, and was kind of looking to the crypto market, I put, let's say, $300 in one cryptocurrency IPO. And I mean, it's there, but it doesn't worth anything. I mean, my $300 may be worth $50 today, you know? So it's a gamble. Most likely, as you said, for me, crypto, I don't know, even stocks is most likely, I'll not say a gamble, but I mean, as you said, real estate's more safe, right? That's your point. You have more control and it's more safe.
Coming from the stock market, I'm not going to say that stock market in general is a gamble, because if you have the problem of the stock market is that you actually investing in the CEO of the company. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If tomorrow Jeff Bezos leave Amazon and a crazy guy goes there and makes a bunch of wrong decisions, Amazon is going to do like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yahoo. Yahoo was one of the biggest companies in the stock market, and then they receive an offer to be acquired, and the CEO said no the first time, said no the second time. On the third time, they start losing value because Google came in and said, okay, you're not, Google was trying to buy them.
Yep.
Okay, you're not going to sell to me? Okay, I'm going to screw you another way, and did it. The same thing with Snapchat. Snapchat was offered to be acquired by Instagram several times, by Facebook several times. They didn't sell, which would be good for the shareholder. So Instagram just, okay, you're not going, Facebook said, okay, you're not going to sell to me. I'm just going to copy your product. And I already have a bigger base than you. So it's not a gamble. But as I told you, on real estate, if you invest in real estate, you control. You control. You don't put in the hands of another person. You control.
Okay. So let's go back to your journey here right now. So you said you came back, you made it to Miami, right?
Yes.
So when you get here, what's your plan? What's the business plan?
Well, when I got here in October 2014 was the first time ever for me in America. Mm-hmm. So I never have been here. I've been to Europe several times. I actually went to move there. When I was in the asset management company, I talked to them to open a branch there. So when I got here for the first time in October 2014, you know how the flights from Brazil are, they are overnight. First meeting was with an attorney, because the business plan, the plan at that moment was, we need to go to an attorney to see if we can do whatever we want to do, structure in terms of corporate and getting investors and everything. So we got here at 7 a.m. At 9 a.m., 9:30, we were there on the attorney's office, 2 hours meeting. We left that meeting knowing that we could do what we wanted to do. And we spent the next 6.5 days just studying the market. What's happening? How does it work? How is their sales process here, which is very different from Brazil. I never heard of, in Brazil, we don't have the escrow account. We don't have the title company the same way that they have the title company here. I had meetings with banks to understand how is the loan for the construction, how is the loan for the buyer, and just understanding how the market is. So every day from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. was just immersion. It was a second MBA in 1 week. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. And the idea was to leave this trip in October 2014 with all our questions answered and a prospective project to do. So that's what we did. We went back to Brazil, talked to a few investors. One investor really wanted to invest here also. So he said, okay, Daniel, if you let's do this. I agree in giving the initial deposit to secure the land. So that was 2014. We got at that time, this investor, he put $200,000. We made an offer in 2 properties, a single lot and a double lot in Bay Harbor Island. And we had an inspection period for 60 days, 60. Now it's impossible to get 60 days because the market's so hot. Mm-hmm. But at that moment we got it and we sent that offer. We finalized the offer, I remember, on December 27. And so from December 27 to February 27, more or less 60 days, we had to come with the investors. And that's what we did. So in January, we did a lot of one-on-one meetings with investors. And 2 weeks prior to Brazilian Carnival, we made like a bigger event, like a dinner with everybody that said, yes, I wanted to hear more. So we put everybody together in a conference room. I think there was about 50 people that were interested. And remember, this was 2014 to 15. Dilma was reelected. And the dollar was 257. So people wanted to do something different, and the dollar was cheap for Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So in that dinner, we had to raise 16 million in 10 shares that we split. We got 8 on that dinner confirmed. So those 8 investors, we brought them here on Brazilian Carnival. We did a field trip here and showed them around everything that we saw in our first trip in October. We did everything again with them in February. And after we came, so we made because we didn't raise all the money, we got 80% of it. We bought one land and we left the other one for later. 2 weeks later, the 2 investors missing came up, and then we bought the second property.
Okay.
So that was the game plan on the beginning.
Okay. So fast forward here, after you acquire, you raise the money, you acquire the land, and what happened? You guys develop a build from scratch, or
yes,
took over a multifamily to, how do you say, it's not rehab, it's like,
yeah, but the rehab of the multifamily, it happened almost by chance. We bought 2 properties. One was a single lot in Bay Harbor, one lot with 11,000 square feet with a project approved. The idea was to start the process right away with that one. And the other one was a double lot, corner lot, 19,000 square feet. And there was a building inside it, on top of it. There was a building on the site with 20 units. It was an old multifamily. And it was perfect because we could make money while developing the project, because the idea was to demolish that one and build a new one. So, but since there was recurring revenue, we kept it as long as possible. We hired an architect. On the first one, we started selling. After we reached 50%, we started construction. But in parallel, we hired an architect to start developing the other project. So that was 2015, the beginning. And in 2017, if you remember, the market in general here in America, especially in Florida, was stagnated.
okay.
And our construction was moving forward, but we were not selling anymore from the first project. From the 17 units, we had sold 10, and we were having like a very difficult time to sell these seven units left, because there was 16,000 units in the market here. So I told the investors, look, and on the second project, we had the project done. We evacuated the building with the tenants, so we terminated all the leases, and we had the demolition permit ready.
Okay.
So at that moment, I told the investors, look, we are having trouble selling 7 units. How come are we going to develop now 28? Because it was double. So, and that was the moment that I was learning about the multifamily. And I told them, look, I think if we renovate, rehab this multifamily, we can make money. So I did a study, and that was exactly it. We paid 3.5 million in the multifamily. The renovation budget was 1.5, so $5 million. And I hired an appraisal, and he appraised the building, if fully rented, in $7 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I told the investor, look, let's just renovate. Let's get money from the bank. we can, the land was financed already. So let's finance the construction and just let's renovate. So that's what we did.
Okay.
We built the first one from scratch, and the second one, we just decided to renovate the multifamily.
And when you renovate a multifamily, we talk about there's a yield that you call when it's like 5+ units, you increase the value of the property by, you know, the revenue that generates, right?
Yeah.
So what's your plan after renovating? You have a number in mind, say, hey, I can increase my rents in 15% or whatever.
Because it was a super old building in terrible conditions, the rents were super low, low. So basically after renovation, we raised the rent in 85%.
Wow, almost double.
Yeah, yes. Like the 1 bedroom, the rent was $800.
Okay.
It was $800. And now it's here in Miami, you can, because it's an old, I mean, it's a new building right now because it's renovated, but we still don't have amenities. So at least there is like 1,500. So it was a very good deal. It was a very good deal.
So when you guys renovated all that stuff, what happened? You guys sold this multifamily to another group of investors, or you kept for a while?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still, we have the appraisal at 7 million, and this appraisal is from 2017. Right now, it's worth much more, but right now it's just collecting money.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
But it's an asset. Yeah. If I were, I'm not with those group anymore because in the end of last year, me and my partner, we split. But I talked to some of the investors several times, and I told them, look, if I were you, I would just get a new loan with the new property value, because now is going to value like 8 million.
Yep.
And just pay the previous loan, cash out everything that you can, and just buy another one.
Yeah.
And just buy another one without putting any new money. That if I was there yet, that would be the thing that I would recommend.
Yeah, that's the beauty of real estate. I mean, it's like it's there for you all the time. You can control, and it's a live business, a live thing. I mean, especially right now, low interest rate, you can do this cash out, and maybe you can just, because the interest low, I'm not sure how it works for commercial loans. I never made commercial stuff, you know, but I'm pretty sure that they have the primary rate has a standard plus something on the top. So
it depends on the lender.
Okay.
But the beauty is on the real estate is that you don't need to sell to invest in something else. Because if you sell, you're going to pay capital gains, unless you do the 1031 exchange, but that's a pain in the ass to do anyway. And you're just going to sell a good property to buy a new one, incurring more risk without having the benefit of the other one. And the beauty of real estate is that you can actually do that. You can just, since you raise the value of the property, you can just get more money out, keep the property, and it's going to be cash flow positive, because the bank is never going to lend you more money than what the property can generate to pay for that loan. So if a property makes $100,000 per month, let's say, the bank's not going to lend you anything that your payments, your monthly payments, would be 70,000. So there's always going to be a cushion. Let's say in this case, you're still collecting $30,000, right? You're making 100. You're paying $70,000 in debt.
Yeah.
You're still making $30,000 per month on that property, but you have all the money to put in another one.
Yeah. And make
after
more
you
money.
do the same thing with that one, you do it again. And if the first property raised the price, you can cash out again. And you can just do it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's most likely the BRRRR, but it's on commercial level.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty cool. So you and at this point you have this building that is renovated, generate income. and you split up with your partner. And what are you doing right now? Because I noticed you said you I'm not sure if this partner is the same one that you were working with mansion around Miami as well. Like
Yes, we're the same. We're the same. We built 2 luxury homes because when we were doing the other building, and then we did a small building. What is called small? It's 17 units, 7 floors, and small buildings, small profits. And I was studying all the opportunities, and one day I came across a developer that only did luxury homes, and he showed me a house that he was going to build. It was going to cost him about $2 million. He was going to sell for almost $3 million minus the commission and everything. He was making like $700,000 net on that, and he could leverage the construction.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, $700,000, okay. The little building that I built, the profit was $1 million on a $10 million project. So, of course, the investor didn't put 10 million, they put 4 million because the rest came from the lender and the pre-sales. But I thought, okay, they put $4 million. We are giving all this risk. The building takes 2 years to be ready. We still have to sell 7 units left. The whole project is going to take almost 5 years to make $1 million over 4. The investor put 4, we're making 1. If I build a house from the 2 million cost to 2.5 million cost, the investor is going to only put 1.2, and they're going to make $700 in 18 to 24 months.
That's a no-brainer.
It's better. It's much better to build. And for me, the best thing, it's one sale.
Yeah.
One sale. Daniel, but a house like that in that moment, a house like that may take a year to sell. I don't care. A building takes 5 years to be built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in a RIA here in Baltimore, and after that, I want to talk with you about Baltimore as well. I know that you have some deals here, like affordable housing and other stuff, but I was in the RIA past week, and one of the guys will say, hey, maybe the days on the market is not a big deal for someone that is not in a rush, you know?
Yeah. Because
let's say
actually, if you're not in a rush, the longer the better, because if you're buying and see a property that is 174 days in the market, you can negotiate it better.
Yeah, because we are talking about, you know, people that rehabbing the house, they do a hard money lender, and they in a rush because they want to flip the house as fast as possible. And I see a lot of properties here, 3 days on the market, sold, 4 days on the market, sold. And sometimes it's sold a little bit less from the asking price. So that's, you know that whoever did the rehab was like on a high interest rate loan or whatever, they want to just cash out right away. But on the other hand, you have the same kind of house, let's say $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more. I'm not talking about high-end houses, like regular houses, mid-class houses, and it's sitting there for 200 days and just waiting for the right buyer. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, but then you have the carrying costs, because the guy, the first one, even though he's using a hard money lender, he's paying a lot of interest, he's generating a lot of deals.
Mm-hmm.
So probably he's making less in each deal, but much more deals than that guy. That guy will do one deal in 1 year, the first one, and he will make, I don't know, $100,000. The other one is going to make 15 deals, and probably he's going to make $180,000.
Yeah.
Because he's making less in each one, but he's doing more. So it depends what you want. In real estate and investment, there's no right and wrong. There is what is good for you and what is not. Maybe this guy doesn't have a loan. The property there in Baltimore, there's a lot of old properties, and the property tax there are ridiculously low. So the carrying cost is super, super, super small. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the guy is just, okay, if I sell it, I sell it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah. So how you end up doing business here in Baltimore? Because you're living in Florida, right? You never live here in Baltimore, right?
No.
So how do you what happened for you to come here and say, okay, let's try to do something here real estate wise?
Well, I met a guy in my Harley Davidson Academy class, and he said, "Oh, I do deals in Baltimore." "Oh, yeah, what do you do?" "Well, I buy houses and I sell to investors. I guarantee the rent, and I give them the option to buy back." I said, "Oh, that's a nice business model." And we started studying. I started studying it, and the fact is that in Baltimore, even though the market's super hot right now, the rental market, it's much stronger than the property market per se. Maybe because Baltimore is a dormitory city for Washington. A lot of people are in Washington just for a period of their life. So they don't really want to buy something, and Washington is super expensive. So they go live in Baltimore and they commute.
Mm-hmm.
And because the rents are so high in Baltimore, the returns are very good. So basically, we wanted to give the investors, and I just had this conversation with a Brazilian investor today. Saying, "Daniel, I don't want to do Airbnb because I'm a doctor. I don't have time to manage. I don't have time to deal with a tenant. I don't have time with anything. I need a solution like yours. You do everything for me, everything. I just buy the house. The house is already rented. I'm making 11% guarantee per year. And at the end of the third year, if I want, you buy the house back from me. So you eliminate my vacancy risk, because vacant or not, you're going to pay me. And you eliminated my liquidity risk at the end. If I want my money back, you just buy the property from me. So there's nothing else that I need to do, and you are managing the rent. So that's perfect for me." So we just went there to look for an alternative for people that want to invest in income producing property. And here in Miami, income producing properties are not super attractive, at least for Brazilian and South American investors that are used to a higher interest rate. Mm-hmm. So the regular rent here right now, because the market's hot, you're going to make between 4 and 6% per year if you are lucky. In Baltimore, we are making 11.
Yeah. So let me tell this. That's the funny thing. I met you at Clubhouse in I don't remember which room, but hey, I live in Baltimore, have Airbnbs in Florida. So I live in Florida and have some deals in Baltimore, you know? So say, oh yeah, let's connect. So whatever. And in the first area that I went, I say maybe there's something here in Baltimore, because in my perspective, I live in here for barely 4 years right now. And I just stay, Fells Point area, Canton, just in nice neighborhoods, and I'm always afraid to go out and drive to the other places, West Baltimore, whatever.
There where the money is, baby.
Yeah, man. So I went to area, and I just sitting there and say, okay, you're gonna be like a sponge. You're gonna like learn everything, gonna sit here, listen to the people. And the guy behind me, he was talking to someone, and they're talking, oh, Baltimore is real estate heaven. I heard that phrase. I say, maybe there's something here that I'm missing, man. I'm missing something right here in Baltimore.
Yeah, and the properties that we rent for Section 8 or other government benefits.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I start to drive for dollars right now, and driving not on the D, C minus neighborhoods, but on the C plus neighborhoods. Their houses over there, like they're selling anything between $50,000 to $80,000. They're generating up to $1,600, maybe $1,700 per month in rent. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, remember those neighborhoods are made of people that they need a place to live, but they cannot be approved for a loan, so they cannot buy.
But a lot of Section 8, and I heard Section 8 tenants, you can get more rent on Section 8, but it's like the risk, you can have a regular tenant with a lower rent, or you can maybe risk more, be more, and take a Section 8 tenant and make $200-300 more each month.
We don't have any problems with our Section 8. We never had. It's much better in Baltimore than it is here in Miami, because here in Miami, because the numbers are more expressive. They are more expensive. Usually the Section 8 is not 100%. It's like 80% or 90% or 70%. So what some tenants, and I'm repeating what a client told me, and he was very against Section 8. Since the client has to come up with the 20%, 10%, 5%, sometimes the tenant doesn't have the money. They trash the house because then they call the landlord, look, the AC is not working, so I'm not going to pay my part of the rent until you fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So they deliberately trash the house so they don't have to pay the rent. They can have like 2-3 days a week more to pay. So that's an extra cost but I don't have that. We don't have that problem in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear from you, because I hear both sides, you know, people hate, people love, but yeah, it's all about, we don't know how people do their businesses, you know? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that love Section 8, there are a lot of people that hate Section 8.
I don't love Section 8. I don't love Section 8, but in Baltimore is a good deal. It's good. I mean, I love what is good, so that's good. Here, no, I wouldn't do Section 8 here. The numbers don't match.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay. So for what's a golden nugget you can drop for us here, real estate wise, or even, you know, if you learn something in a book or whatever, but if you want to get into the real estate business, what's the golden nugget, or what's the advice that you can give for someone that is just starting?
Yeah, it might sound like very cliche, but the best thing is just start. When I was in the stock market, I didn't like real estate because I didn't know it. And you can only know real estate if you do it. You cannot learn how to ride a bike by reading books. And each person has a different opinion. Each person has a different experience. I love building luxury homes. For me, when you balance out the stress, the labor, and the result, I prefer to build one luxury home and take 3 years to make $1 million, $700 for the investors, than to do 10 affordable homes. I don't like, because I need to go to the process 10 times to make the same money. I prefer just do once. Oh, Daniel, but the risk is bigger. Yes, the risk is bigger, but I have a margin. Like the house that we built in Hollywood. We had a hurricane that we lost 6 months during the project. We had, because it was a major rehab, we demolished the old house, left 3 walls and built a new house. We had a lot of issues with the previous structure that we lost another 6 months. And remember, we financed the construction, so that's 1 year more of interest. And last year we had COVID. Even with all of that, we still made money. Even with all of that, we still made money. Took 4 years, but we made money. If that was an affordable home, you buy the nails with the wrong price, you lose money.
Yeah.
So, cool. But some people like it. Some people prefer to deal with that kind of product, that kind of client. I prefer the other one because luxury homes, they buy because they want, not because they can pay the mortgage. 85% here in Florida of houses over $3 million are paid cash.
Wow.
85%.
So most likely, let's say like this, whoever is buying those properties is someone that really, that's what you said, is someone that really wants that property, and doesn't mean most likely they're not investors as well, right?
No, they are buying.
They just want it.
They are buying to live, and they buy there because they want to live there.
Yeah.
So you need to pay very attention on the location. Sometimes the position on the street will define if you have a good project or not. Here in Florida, it's preferred to have lots facing south so you can have more sun exposure. And if you are in the water, if you're not in the water, what kind of water is that? Is that a deep canal so you can have big boats? It's a shallow canal where you don't have big boats. So if you cannot have big boats, you're not going to pay big money for the house, because remember, the guy who pays $3 million in a house, he has $1 million boat. He has a $700,000 boat. If he's paying $1 million in the house, he's going to have a $250,000 boat. So if they go there and they can see, oh, here I can put my 80-foot yacht here, so I'm not going to buy it. And they just go somewhere else because they're not concerned about how much is the mortgage. They are concerned if they can put their boat there. So it's a different mindset. Definitely, it's a different construction. The level of the finishes and everything, you need to pay more attention because they are more educated. You cannot put the pretty finish, the cheap pretty one, because they know that is cheap but pretty. On the low in the low income, you can't put the cheap pretty because they see that it's pretty and they want it. So there are variances, but I mean, when you sell a house, you're negotiating $100,000 discount, not 5.
Yeah. Okay. So Daniel, thank you very much for your time, man. And let's do more of this maybe 6 months from now. Let's see.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty cool, man. So I really appreciate your time again. And if I can help you with anything here in Baltimore, I'll be.
What's the name of this podcast? It's a podcast.
It's not a podcast. I just put on my YouTube channel.
So you should do this a podcast because you just strip the audio and you do a podcast.
Actually, I doing something that I call like from zero to hero, something like that. Yeah. So I'll have a live with Faigo tonight, and I'm gonna record that as well, just to know a little bit more of his history as well and learn with him.
So this is the episode number 1 of Zero to Hero.
Yeah, most likely. I have to gather all this and edit. I'm gonna take forever to edit this thing, but yeah, I'm gonna put on YouTube.
Dude, I'm going to put on my podcast tomorrow. I'm going to be faster than you.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, man, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
That's it.